Welcome, guys. Thanks for joining. All right, let's get going. All right, so let's go ahead and start out with just some basic hip openers. We're going to start to loosen up those hips. And so to do that, we're just going to pull our knee up, rotate those hips back, and repeat. Now you can hold onto a wall, chair, if you need a little extra help keeping that balance. But if you're able to hold your balance, and see how many of these you can do unbroken without falling and having to reset. Nice job. Let's go ahead and reverse that rotation. So now I'm going to pull that leg back, up, and over. Start to loosen out that hip joint a little bit. Great job. All right, let's do the same thing other side. So I started out with my left leg. Now I'm going to go to the right. Get that knee up as high as you can before rotating back. You're going to try to get to the end of that full range of motion that we can get. Great job. Let's go ahead, reverse that rotation, pull that leg back, up, and over. Nice job. Hold that balance. All right. Next up, we're going to just pull in, do some knee to chest. So I'm going to start out with my left leg. I'm grabbing my shin right below my knee. Then I'm going to pull that knee in up and high and as tight as I can. And then I'll just switch to my other leg. And I'm just going to do slow repetitions of this. Just holding that leg up for 2 to 3 second pause at the top. And then switching that up. If it's easier for you, you can also stay on one leg for a couple of repetitions if that helps with balance. And then after a few reps on one side, you can go to a few reps on the other side. Now, whenever we do these standing knee tucks, you want to keep that torso upright. Try not to actually collapse in towards the knee. You want those arms to do the work to pull that leg up and in. Nice job. We'll get just a couple more of those. All right. We're going to go ahead and move on to our hamstrings next. So we're going to do some hamstring sweeps. Unlike a lot of hamstring stretches that we may do, on these, we're going to stay dynamic throughout. So we're going to keep moving throughout instead of holding a long stretch. So I'm going to have you go into a staggered stance, one foot in front of the other. And then we're going to hinge at the hips, press those hips back, lean forward, sweep at the foot. And so you can either do one of two things. You can either do multiple repetitions on one foot, or you can alternate in between. Really important for this, you want that to start at the hips by pressing those hips back and keeping that back straight as you go down. If you keep your hips in that neutral position and just bend at the back, you're not going to feel that stretch in the hamstrings. So you want to make sure that you're hinging those hips back, sweeping those arms. Great job. Couple more. Very nice. All right, next up, let's go ahead and move to the quads. We're going to do a static stretch for this one. So you can either hold on to a wall for balance for this, or you can test out your balance by standing on one foot. But I'm going to grab my foot or your ankle, whatever's most comfortable for you. And then I'm going to stand up straight, tighten those glutes, putting a nice stretch in the quads. If you want to go deeper into that stretch and get into the hip flexors a little bit, then you can just pull that knee in towards your midline. And the further back you pull that leg, the more you're going to feel it, the deeper you're going to go into that stretch. Now you want to make sure that as you pull that leg back, that you're not getting a big arch in your back to compensate. You want to keep those hips in a neutral position, squeezing those glutes to help stabilize you. Hold that just a couple more seconds. All right, great job. Let's go ahead and do the same thing, other side. Try to bring that knee in towards your midline. And we're holding. Giving it a few seconds to stretch that tissue out. And I love to use stuff like this. It's just a way to practice my balance, you know. But if you find that you are falling over and having to catch yourself multiple times throughout the stretch, then just go ahead and grab onto a chair or something like that. That way you don't keep losing that stretch, because we want to hold this for a certain length of time so that we give that muscle tissue time to stretch out. All right. Very nice job, guys. All right, so next up, we're going to go into a wide stance, and we're going to stretch the adductors a bit, those inner thighs. So what I'll have you do, stand up straight in your wide stretch, and then we are going to shift our hips to one side. So you want to make sure that you keep that opposite side that you're shifting your hips to outstretched straight. So I'm going to shift my hips to the right, keep that left leg straight. I'm just going to hold that for a couple seconds, and then I'm going to shift to the left, keep that right leg straight. We're just going to do slow, controlled repetitions. Very nice. And you don't have to go into like a full lunge with that leg. We're just going down far enough that we start to feel a pull on the inside of that opposite thigh. Great job. Let's get a couple more reps. All right, very nice. All right, so next I'm going to use my chair that I have here, and you can do this up against the wall or a desk, anything like that. But I'm just going to do a couple of calf stretches. And so you want to go in a staggered stance, one foot in front of the other. That back foot, drive your heel into the ground, and then lean forward. You want to shift that body weight forward, making sure that your heel doesn't pop up off of the floor. And then we're going to hold that there. Make sure you have your leg completely straight. You're going to get a nice pull in those calves. We're going to hold this for just a few seconds, and then we'll switch to the other side. Those calves can get really tight from either A, a lack of movement, or B, a lot of movement. They can get tight with either one. All right, let's go ahead and switch to the other side. So now I'm switching feet, staying in that staggered stance. That back foot, keep that heel onto the ground. Don't want that to pop up at all. Keep that leg completely straight. Then we're holding. This one's another static stretch. So we're holding for a length of time to get that muscle tissue time to stretch out, to lengthen. Produce some tightness in there. All right. Fantastic. You can go ahead and release that. Great job, guys. That is all the time that we have today. Thank you so much for joining me for today's desk stretch. I will see you all at our next session.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.